Hello everybody and welcome back to the shop. Today we've got some emergency repair action on the SS Minnow. Welcome to the SS Minnow, aka the Bollinger Family Fun Machine, family pontoon boat. Now this boat was gifted to me by a family friend who could no longer get it and use it because of his age. And it's a free fun pontoon boat, right? An afternoon of cleaning carburetors and lower unit reseal kit and an impeller and a fuel pump. And we've had a lot of fun in the pontoon boat. So this boat has this really cool feature, something that somebody's done to this boat that's really cool. You probably can't figure it out. Maybe somebody that's got a super sharp eye can spot it, but hang around to the end of the video and I'll tell you what it is. You know, with everything there is a story, and that's why we are here today. So here's the story. The outlaws were visiting, the in-laws were visiting, and the wife wanted to take them for a little boat ride. So we took them out to one of the chains of lakes here and went for a nice afternoon boat ride. Everybody had a great time and we were kind of heading back in for the afternoon, and I've noticed the boat started to have a list. So I thought maybe it was just too many people on one side of the boat. And yeah, no. What it was one of the pontoons filling up with water. It started filling up pretty fast. And so I got a little nervous, and you know, who wants to have the in-laws with you when the boat sinks? Yeah, you'll never live that one down. So what I did is got it home, and what I found is about 55 gallons of water in this pontoon. Now I had checked the pontoons prior to the trip, and I know it was relatively empty. So the failure happened while we were using the boat. And what I had a hard time conceptualizing is, if the pontoon is sealed, how did I get 55 gallons of water in it that fast? Because if the hole was in the bottom of the pontoon, the water would come in, but eventually the air pressure would offset the water coming in because the top is still sealed, and it would get water in it, but not 55 gallons of water that fast. It wasn't that long of a trip. Didn't make sense to me, so I said the hole has to be on the top of the pontoon. Got to looking around, tried to charge the pontoon with some air pressure, and let me show you what we found. Look right there, you can see that bracket has a sizable crack, and it basically punched right through the pontoon. Now, if you look up here a little closer, somebody calls that a weld. Now, to me, that looks like somebody flung dog crap at it with a slingshot. All right, so I know that the hole was not there long term. I know that it is basically in here since this last trip. The undercut is pretty suspect there, and we live on some bumpy roads, so maybe the bump and the undercut and a little bit of flex and a little bit of this and a little bit of that caused the failure. None of the other brackets have failures like that, so I'm gonna say that was the failure point there. How I'm gonna deal with this is this bolt that's here that somebody didn't put a stainless screw in for. I'm just gonna cut that off with a cutoff tool. That's never gonna come off there. And then I'm gonna cut this bracket right at the weld. What I wanna do here is just basically cut the weld out. I'm gonna take it out because I'm fairly certain that this crack comes around the back of the bracket here. I'm just gonna cut it so that it's flush. I'm gonna get in there, we're gonna wheel it all out, clean it all up the best we can. We're gonna weld the hole shut. Then we'll put the bracket back in and weld the bracket on top of the weld. That gives it some extra reinforcement, because I can get a circumferential weld all the way around it, put the bracket on top, and then weld it in. So that's the plan on fixing it here. All right, folks, what we got here is a diamond cutoff wheel. I'm gonna use it to cut right here, and we don't wanna use abrasive blades in aluminum when we're gonna weld it. So we're gonna cut this nut off here first. So I'm literally reaching my hands around the camera here to get this shot. I'm gonna knock that out with a punch. we can drive that out of here. What I'm going to try to do is I want to see if I can push back on that bracket before I cut it right here and close that gap up just a little bit, maybe bend that metal up. Oh yeah, I like. Let's see if we can cut this right here. This is closed up real nice. I'm gonna cut this with a diamond wheel. And a diamond wheel doesn't cut aluminum very well at all. Matter of fact, it kind of sucks. The right way to do it is to probably get a Sawzall blade and do it, but it's just so cramped under here. This is a much easier tool for me to get in here. I'm just going to take the stainless steel wire wheel and the grinder. I'm going to deburr this, clean this all up. This is just a stainless steel wire brush I use for doing aluminum work. It's a little softer. I got in a little the nooks and crannies a little easier. This is called a Rexcut wheel. Rexcut's been bought out by Sayit now, but basically I've been using these for years. This is some stock that I've had. This is a wheel that's made of basically linen pressed together. Excellent, excellent for grinding down aluminum. So I'm just gonna grind this down. I'm not gonna go crazy and try to get it smooth or anything. I'm just gonna take the bulk of that out, and then we'll come in here and then we'll weld this back up. All right, so we're up here ready to put the first stringer bead in. Let me show you a little trick here. You see these are full length welding rods. Super tight area, hard to get to. I talk about this quite often. We're gonna take these welding rods, we're gonna cut them down. It's gonna be hard enough to get up under here and fill this and make something happen, so let's do that. All right, I've got my torch here with me. Apologize for the critters flying in and out here. It's getting dark and so all the bugs are coming out. I have a 332 chartreuse tungsten in it. Chartreuse, there's some people call it a laser tungsten. I like them. They're probably one of my new favorites. We're gonna light up on this bad boy. We're gonna put a bead right here along the bottom. Super tight area right here, so I wouldn't send this in for a test weld, but a couple of takeaways here. There was a lot of contamination in the metal, but the contamination was not in the flat surface that we prepared. It was actually in the cross section, so the thickness of the crack had a ton of contamination in it, and it just kept, wanting to come out, and I had to let that AC sine wave do the cleaning there and clean that up for us. I put multiple passes on there, and that looks pretty rough. It's definitely rooted into the material. What I did is I welded around the crack, and then I laced the weld back together. I really don't care what it looks like. I know it's strong. We don't have contamination in our weld. Really tight quarters up under here. Off camera, what I did is just put the bracket back on here, and I just snugged this bolt just a little bit. I'm gonna tack it here and tack it here, and I'm gonna try to run a bead across it. Hopefully, since I've got good 4043 filler in here, and this is good clean material, I hope we'll have a nice weld here. All right guys, take a look at that. Not the prettiest weld I've ever done, but I'm actually okay with that, because right now my chiropractor is gonna be able to take an extra vacation from all the money he's gonna get from my neck and back being all crunk up under this thing, getting it done. That's way stronger than it ever was. I would normally be concerned about this edge right here, right at the bottom. It looks a little bit cold, but it's actually not. I just welded right down to the edge of the bead that was already there, and I don't want to put any more heat into this pontoon, because if you can see, it's starting to get a little curve right there. We know the hole's already welded shut, so we're not worried about anything leaking at this joint line right here. We're literally sitting on top of a weld that's right there, and this is just a cover pass because I was being a little vain. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not gonna break. Well, other than putting some washers up underneath this a bolt right there. I'm going to call this project good. And I am definitely going to get myself out from underneath this boat. All right, everybody. That was a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be, but we divided and conquered. And I say divided because I had some help off screen that you guys couldn't see. They were handing me tools underneath. They were helping me get the boat situated. That's my son Bo and Luke here. They both gave me a big hand. Also, we didn't talk about the welding machine, so I just put it here in the shot. This is my Aspect 375. I chose to use that today simply because it had a little bit longer lead on it and I was up under the boat, so it just made things a little bit easier. Anyway, we'll call this a success. Definitely more difficult than I thought, but sometimes that's the way it goes. Everybody, welcome to the SS Minnow. One of the things I really like about this boat is the way it was set up. And it was set up by somebody who understood fishing and doing fun stuff. A real aluminum deck, no plywood in the deck, it's all aluminum. Super simple, tack, speedo, start, stop, power port access. It's really that simple. Now I'm gonna redo some of this up here. There's no seats in the boat. I love it. It's perfect. Super simple. Battery, fuel cans, motor, seats. It's that simple. Take it out, hose it off, put it back in. Doesn't ever stink like fish. Blows out with a blower, washes with a pressure washer. Anchor stores right here. The bumpers I just keep in a bucket with the ropes. And the boat can be configured any way I want it to, anytime I want it to. The top here comes off. This is a little bit of my work, so just pull the linch pins out. Pin out back there, out there. Out there it comes off. For transport, it just leans back and lays on top of here. And I like it because there's no canvas and there's only 4 points here that cross. So when you're fishing, especially with kids, you know, fishing, the poles always get caught up in the bimini top and then the Y and then the straps and all of that. So we can either take that off and be completely done with it or just have those 4 points. One of the things we do here in Florida a lot is shrimp. So when you go shrimping, it's at nighttime, so we don't need the cover. And we can just take this whole thing off, throw the batteries, the lights out of the side, and the whole side of this 25-foot boat, front to back, just completely open. What do you think, buddy? Do you like the pontoon boat? Mm-hmm. You like it? You have fun? All right, so if you waited around till the end of the video, here's the cool feature of this boat, the helm. The helm is actually an old aluminum box that sits at the corner of an intersection and all the street light electronics fit in it. And somebody repurposed it to be the helm. It's all aluminum. It's pretty much weatherproof. Rain, water, and all can't get in it. It's got some shelves, life jackets, toolbox, spare propeller, you know, all the stuff you take with you in the boat. It's all right there in perfect order. So really good idea for the electronics box for a street light. Everybody, we appreciate you sticking with us to the end. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.